You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Robert, here's the deal. If there are things that you can stand up and take credit for, you do so. But you don't stand there and lie and have folks easily fact check it. We didn't come to become the world's #1 energy producer because he became president. It literally happened in 2012.
Well, I'll say there are good and bad parts of the speech. There were the parts that I really thought were strong and powerful. I like seeing Republicans spending that much time reaching out to African-American voters. There needs to be competition for the black vote.
How did they reach out?
Well, between the Tuskegee Airmen, the young woman who got the scholarship to go to college, talking so deeply about African-American unemployment, the opportunity zones discussion he had, reentry programs for the Second Chance Act. So he spent a lot of time talking about the black community and black voters, and whether it's ingenuous or not, the point is that both parties need to be competing for the black vote, because when both parties compete for the black vote, you get better policy initiatives coming out of it.
So I'm trying to understand. He talked about one young girl getting a scholarship, yet he also wants to cut $1.9 billion from Pell Grants. So
hold on.
No, I'm asking, but if you want to celebrate one young black girl getting a scholarship, but you want to cut $1.9 billion from Pell Grants, that's where most African Americans get funds to go to college.
And this is why I say there's good and bad in the speech, which is on the one hand, we have Republicans competing for our votes. On the other hand, we do have to ensure that we hold them accountable for the promises they are making. So you can't talk about the importance of black education and also talk about cutting Pell Grants. He also talked about fully funding Social Security, which he's completely not done. He talked about...
No, hold on, not only that. Hold up, and that's what I'm going to bring in Angela. Angela, he talked about fully funding Social Security. He literally is requesting cuts of billions of dollars in Social Security. He also said in his speech, protecting when it came to pre-existing conditions, that's a lie. I mean, it's just a flat-out lie. They're in court trying to end the Affordable Care Act,
exactly,
and there's no health plan. So what I'm trying to understand is, if you want to give a speech and you want to laud things that you've done, fine, but don't lie about stuff that you have not done.
Well, first of all, in regards to the speech, I want to back up a little bit in regards to the little girl when you say it's one little black girl. He also asked Congress to pass 1 million scholarships for 1 million children. That's also in the State of the Union.
Now,
if it had been a white girl, we wouldn't say nothing. No. If it had been a white girl, none of us would have something to say. Because it was a black girl.
If you're cutting to, first of all, here's a piece here.
Why is he cutting?
I've interviewed. Here's a piece. Because he wants to cut. Let me just read it right here.
Where is
Donald Trump? I'm reading
where
it
are you
here.
reading this from?
I'm reading this here. Now follow me here. Donald Trump wants to cut. Requested to Congress to rescind $1.9 billion from the Pell Grant program to redirect the money to NASA. Now, if most African Americans, if you go to HBCUs, okay, first of all, most HBCUs, 85 to 90% of their budgets come from student aid. You cut Pell Grants, you're actually cutting opportunities. So why would you call for 1 million scholarships, but you're cutting Pell Grants when that's actually how folks are going to school?
But he also permanently funded HBCUs. Let's not pass that part. Yes, he did. We can fact check this. Not only that, he also lifted the federal ban against faith-based HBCUs.
What was the number? No, please tell the public what the number was.
For publicly funded, funding HBCUs,
where you say permanently funded. Tell people
it was 200, either 250 million or 250 billion, possibly.
No, it wasn't
exactly
billion.
Which one it was.
It was 255 million.
Okay.
Now, for the people at home.
How much did Obama give?
No, for the people at home. Hold on. 255 million
per year.
Hold up. Cutting 1.9 billion per year. 255 million, 1.9 billion. That ain't even a comparison.
What I'm saying is,
that's the equivalent of saying
but
$20
how do we know what you're saying
and
is factual?
$20,000.
How do we know what you're saying is factual?
How do I know? Okay, would you like for me to read it?
From?
First of all, I'm reading the article from Forbes.com, not a liberal publication.
Wait a minute. It's not about if it's a liberal publication or not.
Okay, I'm sorry. Henry, go to my iPad. Here is a story, May 2019, from the Associated Press. Headline, Trump targets Pell Grant money for NASA's budget boost.
So has he
Would you
removed
like
this money?
Would you like
Have
another
they voted
source?
to remove this money? Has he done it?
Then what?
Has he taken that money away from HBCUs?
He's taking money away from the Pentagon to build a wall. Hold up, I'm sorry.
We're going back to HBCUs.
No, hold up.
Has
Which
he
is another
taken
lie last night.
the $1.9 million away from them?
No, first of all, they're not from HBCUs. It's Pell Grant
Has
dollars.
he done it? Has he taken
He
it?
requested Congress to cut the money.
Okay.
So my point is this here. Why then would you talk about, hey, let's do 1 million scholarships?
No, he
when
didn't.
you're cutting. No, he asked. You said.
Yeah, he did ask
Congress
them to
do
pass
it.
$1 million, but he
But
funded HBCUs. Let's
No.
be clear. And he also
No. Hold
that Obama put in place.
Let's be real clear what was passed.
Okay.
What was passed when it came to the issue of STEM dollars. We had Congresswoman Alma Adams on this. 1 second.
And he also permanently placed the HBCU initiative in the White House.
We had Congresswoman Alma Adams and Congressman Mark Walters, Republican, on this show discussing that. It was Senator Lamar Alexander that held that particular up. So it's not like that was a creation of Trump. That was already a program that existed that lapsed.
Y'all don't want to give the president credit
No,
for signing these executive orders. Trump doesn't have to
No,
sign
that wasn't
anything.
an executive order.
He did sign an executive order to fund HBCUs.
Angela,
Do you want to fact check this?
Angela, what was passed by Congress, that was passed by Congress. It wasn't an executive order.
He signed an executive order for HBCUs, giving them $250 million in infrastructure. That was last year. This was something else that he's did on top of that, which
but
was
you're talking
separate.
about, but
and he's
again, though,
also placed the HBCU initiative inside the White House.
Let me add the $250 million
But this is the
infrastructure.
president that don't care
to
about
the
black people.
$255 million. Now we had $500 million. But if you're trying to cut $2 billion in Pell Grants, I think, Scott, that the $2 billion in Pell Grants is actually going to help far more people than 500 because that's actually 4 times as much.
Why are they saying he want to do it?
Hold on 1 second.
Well, sitting on the board of trustees for Morehouse College, those Pell Grant cuts and the other cuts from this administration are far more difficult to keep kids in college at historical black colleges and African Americans at other colleges. So there's no comparison. Secondly, given the state of historical black colleges, $250 million for infrastructure for 100 historical black colleges on an annual basis is a drop in the bucket because many of them haven't put a lot of money of their own based on their own fundraising into infrastructure. One of the things about Morehouse, it's a gift and a curse. The movie with the African American women who were the first at NASA to send the astronaut to the moon, they used Morehouse facilities because how aged they looked and were. And they compared it to in the 50s or 60s when this movie was done. And so you've got to break down these numbers when you talk about doing stuff for African-American students, historical black colleges, because those numbers matter, the differentials matter, and the comparatives matter, because we deal with it every day, every couple of months on the board, not just of Morehouse, but even the top historical black colleges.
But when you say $1.9 billion he's trying to cut, is that just for HBCUs or all colleges? Y'all trying to make it seem like he's just trying to take it away from black people. That's not true.
1 second.
First
of all,
personal
you can't use they.
Let's be true.
No, hold up. I was very specific.
Are you saying he's cutting that from HBCUs?
Allow me to finish. I said very clearly, $1.9 billion in Pell Grants.
So for all of the universities across the nation, so it's not just black people.
Well, first of all, I said that.
It's not just black people.
And what I said is, out of the folks who do get Pell Grants, as a disproportionate number of African Americans. And what I did say is that HBCUs, unlike traditionally or predominantly white institutions, have a greater reliance on students getting financial aid.
But he funded HBCUs. I haven't read anything about him funding any other colleges.
Hold on. This is what I think we should do.
You don't think other colleges get research dollars and development dollars?
I'm sure they do, but I'm just talking about the initiative for HBCUs.
Oh, my God. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, but it's a drop in the bucket.
Why would a racist give black people?
My point about last night's
racists who had slaves fed black people.
Exactly.
Why would a racist put an HBCU initiative in the White House?
Robert, one second, Robert's talking.
Oh, white guilt.
My point about the good and bad of the speech.
Robert is talking, folks.
We should give him credit for what he's done. We should hold him accountable for things he wants to do in the future and work towards getting the best public policy coming out of that. So, yes, we can give him credit for the money he's given to HBCUs. We can also still criticize him for the cuts to Pell Grants and understand that we're going to balance the budget. Now we're running a $1 trillion year-over-year deficit.
Now, hold up.
$23
What did you just say?
A $1 trillion
Because I ain't heard none of the Tea Party or the Freedom Caucus about you know all them deficit hawks. I mean, it's like they just all just went away.
We're running a $23 trillion national debt, most of that owed to China. So when we're talking about the things that need to get cut to balance the budget, we can't then say we have a $1.5 trillion tax cut for billionaires, but we also need to take away your Pell Grants because we have to balance the budget.
Or Medicaid, or Social Security, which is what they're talking about doing.
Exactly. This wouldn't be about having a balanced view. Yes, I am glad the president put more money into HBCUs, but let's build on that and find out what we can do going forward instead of seeing these things as being a completely partisan evil or good.
When you mention Bill, this is what I talk about when I talk about the shell game, okay? And this is why when you're examining what someone does, you have to look at the totality of what someone does. So, perfect example. Donald Trump last night talked about the First Step Act and assisting people who are getting out. But while he is saying that, his Department of Justice is also telling U.S. attorneys, pursue the most number of years you can get to put people in prison. Right. Rescinding what Eric Holder said is your promotions are not going to be based upon how many people you put in jail and how many years they get in prison. That's one. While he's over here touting the First Step Act, he's also criticizing the progressive district attorneys who are actually doing more to deal with mass incarceration. When you talk about Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, Kim Foxx in Chicago, Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore, Aaron Marsayala in Florida, and I can go on and on and on. You're talking about, again, First Step Act, mass incarceration, criminal justice reform, which let the Department of Justice go back to using private federal prisons. You talk about...
What's wrong with private prisons?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, let's have that discussion.
Hold up. I'm not done. I am not done. I am not done.
You can't tell me.
Then he talks about, again, the First Step Act. But then over here, you also say we're not going to pursue federal consent decrees against police departments in terms of how they interact with people with police brutality, and they tried to stop it in Baltimore, tried to stop it in Chicago, and he has said to law enforcement, we are no longer going to do those because of that. So the shell game is, I've done this, but I've also done all of this, which I don't want y'all to really talk about. That right there is an issue. And so if you want to talk about the whole picture, or as Paul Harvey said, now the rest of the story.
That's right.
Let's talk about this.
Go ahead.
Now, first of all, in regards to the First Step Act, what the president did was historic. Now, y'all claim he's a racist. He did not have to sign that order. He could have left all of those people in prison. He could have been just like Obama and not got it passed. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, hold on.
When we talk about...
Right there, you said like Obama didn't get it passed.
Exactly.
Who blocked Obama from getting it?
Wait a minute. Who blocked Trump from building the wall? That goes both ways.
It
goes both ways.
No, actually, it doesn't.
Obama passed everything else he wanted to pass.
Angela, here's why you're wrong.
He passed everything. And who blocked Trump from building the wall?
You're wrong. You're wrong. When Republicans were in control of the House and the Senate for his first 2 years, they could have passed the wall. But I'm going back to this here.
But they did.
I'm going back to this here. You want to say what Obama didn't do. Who blocked criminal justice reform under President Barack Obama?
It was not Trump.
Who blocked it?
It wasn't Trump.
But who blocked it?
It wasn't Trump.
But who blocked it?
It don't matter. It wasn't Trump.
It does.
Trump get blocked too. In every presidency. That happens in every presidency.
It was Chuck Grassley.
Yeah.
It was Jeff Sessions. It was Tom Cotton.
Jeff Sessions did it.
Okay, are these the same people that came back?
Former Attorney General.
But you can't.
But what does that got to do with Trump?
Well, Obama didn't do
Got
this.
everything.
It don't have nothing to do with him.
That your party blocked it.
Okay, and my party passed it.
Who?
Trump.
No, you're actually.
He signed it.
Actually, your party didn't.
He signed it. He signed the executive order. Did Trump sign the executive order or not?
No. First of all, Angela, let me help you again.
Did Trump have to sign the executive order? Let me help you.
The First Step Act was not an executive order. The First Step Act is called an act because it's an actual law.
President Donald J. Trump signed an executive order on December 18th, 2018, putting the First Step Act into law.
Angela, listen to me, please. If you're going to come on any television show, have the basic facts together.
Well, I want you to have your facts,
Angela, let me just walk you through. The First Step Act started in the House.
Don't matter.
It was being shepherded through Angela. Excuse me, Angela.
I was there when he signed it.
Excuse me, Angela. Just listen.
Would it have gone through without President Trump signing it?
Listen.
No.
It was shepherded through by Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay.
After it was passed in the House,
Okay.
it then went over to the United States Senate.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Senator Cory Booker, Senator Kamala Harris.
No.
Excuse
no,
me.
no, 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 no.
Excuse
No,
me.
no,
I'm
no,
not
no, no.
done.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you just
listen. They
listen
voted against
to the
it,
facts.
clearly. Okay.
Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Cory Booker, Senator Chuck Grassley, Senator Dick Durbin all said
Doug Collins.
these are Doug Collins is not in the Senate. He's a congressman in
but
the
he
House.
still has something
no,
to do
he's
with the
in the
first
House.
setback as well.
If you're gonna come on talking about it, get your facts straight.
Okay, but
so
Kamala
here's what
and Cory
happened.
voted
But
against it.
here's what happened.
So they didn't want black people out of jail.
Will you stop?
I'm just saying.
Here's what happened. They said these things have to happen. The House version was light when it came to, they were only like, well, let's just do sentencing reform. It was Durbin saying this is a non-starter. The bill was changed in the Senate. That's what took place. Now, did Harris and Booker vote for it in the end? No.
Of course
Were the
not.
changes made? Yes. Were there Black Caucus members who were telling them also, well, changes need to be made? Yes. Then it went to, once it got passed, then it went back to the House, they reconciled, then it goes to the president. But you can't sit here and say, so one,
when it got
wasn't
to the
an
president,
executive order.
when it got to the president, did the president have to sign it into law?
No, he didn't have to sign it.
Exactly. So we're gonna give him his credit for signing it into law.
He
Because
signed
we
a
know that it
he
support-
signed a
we know
bipartisan
90%
he signed a bipartisan criminal justice reform
but
bill.
But white racists don't have to let
And
black
by the
people out of
way,
jail.
and by the way, first of all,
do both.
He doesn't have to though.
Exclusive.
Right.
He doesn't have to.
Scott, go ahead, Scott.
He doesn't have to.
Some
Scott,
of the
go
greatest
ahead.
racists in American history and conservatives have given money to the UNCF, i.e. the Koch brothers. It's called white guilt very often.
What
And
is
to
it
protect
guilty
your
of?
white, they're guilty of being racist.
Why?
They're guilty of having conservative
being
policies
racist. This
that
man been
affect
helping black people ever since we knew him.
and make it very difficult for black people to matriculate in this country.
Nobody
So
hated
it's
him
called
until he
white
became
guilt.
a Republican president. Everybody was cool with him before he became a
Here's my
Republican
issue.
president.
No,
Here's my issue
actually, with him and
with
Melania
the
were
speech.
birthers in 2011.
Exactly.
It's a whole bunch of black
But
folks
here's
didn't
the problem,
appreciate
the real
that.
problem
Scott, go
with
ahead.
the
Your
speech.
point.
well,
Scott,
Jesse
Scott's talking.
Jackson,
Go ahead, Scott.
all the
Scott
rest
is
of them.
talking. Go ahead, Scott.
The speech, you know, I want every president that has good economic numbers to be able to speak on it and to give the report. But when you, as you said, Roland, when you got an economy that's rolling, the problem with this president is he didn't say it was rolling. He always compared it back to prior presidents or Barack Obama.
I mean, he said it was awful.
Right, it was
Everybody does
obsessed with it.
Well, can we
The
talk about the
Republicans
black
cannot
One
finish
second,
this
Scott's talking.
problem.
1 second, Scott's talking.
This was the
Then you
biggest
can make your
problem.
point, then Robert.
This was the biggest problem under the Obama administration. The GOP complained when he was president because he didn't clean up their jacked up economy fast enough or good enough. Remember, he inherited an awful economy from a GOP president. Let's just be real
Losing
clear.
500,000 jobs per month.
Exactly.
I remember it well.
Now, these 11 years of growth, Barack Obama's administration certainly had everything to do with that. The last 3 years, this administration
And the
ought
growth
to take
started
credit.
in June of 2010. Go ahead. I'm
Great.
sorry.
So this president ought to take credit for continuing that growth. But he doesn't do that. He says it's the greatest of all time, and basically the Barack administration and prior administrations did literally nothing. That hyperbole, those false superlatives, is what's troubling about this president, which is why the speaker tore up the speech, because it was a litany of more lies to add to the 16,000 he's told in the last 3 years.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all are always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they make these about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, you know, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike other, because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to rolandmartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's rolandmartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at rolandmartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, that goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.